Doubt, a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. And I have never felt both doubt but also positivity anymore when it comes to the mysterious subject of Zombies Chronicles 2. Doubt is a very valuable thing to feel when we hear about these leaks and rumours from Twitter posts and Reddit posts, all of the leakers spouting this stuff and everything in between. I like to cover the Zombies Chronicles 2 stuff, I like to stay updated with it, and I did a video about the other stuff before, but this has gotten so much more, I guess you could say, out of hand. There's just so much more info coming out all at once, and there's these credible sources that the community knows of that have just been saying all of this stuff, and I've got to talk about it because we've had some new stuff come out and it's just really wild, to be honest. And this news, if real, should give some hope for Zombies Chronicles 2. But just remember what I mentioned earlier, doubt is a very important thing to have, and just keep that in the back of your mind, okay? Stay skeptical about these leaks. Even though they are very reliable sources, it doesn't mean it's going to be 100% true, and I feel like I've got to disclose that at the beginning of all of these kind of videos. But without further ado, let's look at the updates on the Zombies Chronicles 2 subject. Oh, and by the way, this isn't an April Fool's post, especially considering the date that this has probably been uploaded. Just thought I'd let you know. So we don't have just one or two leakers saying this kind of stuff about Zombies Chronicles 2. It seems like most of the reliable Call of Duty leakers have mentioned it at some point, that a Zombies Chronicles 2 was once completed in Black Ops 4, or it was planned, and it was then stopped and brought over into Cold War, and it's kind of just been cryo-frozen pretty much from there. Not being mentioned by any official sources, that is, not being hinted or anything. But the one thing you might remember is there was a tweet from Kevin Drew, of all people, a while back. He's an associate director at Treyarch, and this guy is in charge of the zombie systems and Outbreak when it comes to Black Ops Cold War. And so it makes the tweet that he put out so unbelievably eyebrow raising, and basically just made the whole zombies community just be really happy about what could potentially be the start of a Zombies Chronicles 2 being slowly commented on and acknowledged by Treyarch. The tweet says, "Let me be clear, please keep asking for Zombies Chronicles 2. That passion and demand is what keeps the door open to the possibility of it. Just maybe don't ask in my tweets about a painful situation at work." Now, I believe the painful situation at work was the accusations that came out. I'm pretty sure that's what it was about Activision. I'm sure you already know by now. But to focus on the Zombies Chronicles 2 part, he said right there, please keep asking for Zombies Chronicles 2. And if we ask enough, basically that means that the demand will be so high that they will be able to release it. Whether that's they start making it or they already have it, but they just need the green light by Activision. So there's one actual official source, which is just nuts still, and it's never really left my mind, to be honest, since I read the tweet. Back in February, a very credible leaker called Ralph's Valve simply tweeted 2023 with a zombie emoji. Obviously, this is heavily implied to be about Zombies Chronicles 2. Ralph seems to think that we're going to be getting it in 2023, although I do think there's just as good a chance to get it maybe in the fall of this year. But I really don't want to try and predict dates because I just know I'm probably going to be wrong. Okay, I don't have a crystal ball, I'm not even going there. But regardless, Ralph predicts a lot of stuff, and I think it's not a bad idea to just keep it in the back of your mind. You know, it could be 2023 that we get this Zombies Chronicles 2. I think it's plausible because there has been a sufficient gap between Cold War's last DLC, Vanguard's failure, and now the room for some more Year 2 content, which Cold War has been getting. And so, considering multiplayer has been getting a lot of stuff lately, they've gotten like new maps and things, it just not only makes too much sense, it all adds up, but it works out in Treyarch's favor and in favor for the community to get Chronicles 2, because it just is a win-win for everybody. And what I mean by that gap is that we've had Cold War finish, or at least finish its main cycle of content for Year 1. We've had Vanguard come out and it has not been received well, and now we've jumped another gap of time, and this is the point where some big Year 2 Zombies content could be a thing. Maybe it is in 2023, but it's either going to be end of this year maybe. Regardless, it adds up as to how Zombies hasn't been getting much content for Cold War or Vanguard either. Maybe they are working on this Zombies Chronicles 2, getting ready for quite a big content drop that all Zombies players, casual and hardcore, have been asking for. We are uncertain for sure, but the timing just seems to be working out in Treyarch's favor. The Zombies community is on life support, and they could just drop these remastered maps. Like, Treyarch could just walk up and slap these maps into our faces, and it'd be a huge shock to the system, and it would bring a lot of people back and a lot of traction back to COD Zombies. Regardless, I think the most likely release is going to be 2023, since that leak is coming from a very reliable source. A reliable leaker called Not Alaix has been tweeting some pretty mad stuff. So we have 2 images that was tweeted by them, and one of them is Leroy from Buried. Okay, fine, Arthur, if we're being lore accurate. And then the dragon from Die Rise, and this is obviously talking about Zombies Chronicles 2. These are the maps that would need to be remastered as part of that collection. The tweet above these says Victus is alive, full stop, and then the one above that reads only 2 would be a shame, wouldn't it? The reason 2 would be a shame is because the transit is being left out of this mix, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that if we're going to be getting a transit remaster, it would probably be in the form of an Outbreak map. They'd have to do a lot of reworks for transit to be in Cold War of all games especially, and given the map size, it would just work as an Outbreak map. It would probably be the best Outbreak map. But I know we're all hoping for a round-based transit as well. It would be such a laugh, and the map would actually be fun to play as well. The map would probably be way more well designed than it was back in Black Ops 2, and people would take it a lot more seriously. Now, if we don't see Zombies Chronicles 2, or whatever this Victus Edition DLC seems to be, because they are the 3 maps that are getting leaked right now, it only leaves us with one other viable option. That option being we could see a Zombies Chronicles 2 on a remastered Black Ops 2 entirely. You see, Ralph's Valve recently tweeted that Activision are reportedly considering releasing remastered Call of Duty titles repurposed for newer consoles to fill out the empty space between premium Call of Duty titles. And considering lately we've had leaks of a remastered Black Ops 2, and now there's all of this stuff going around about Zombies Chronicles, there's a good chance that these maps, the 3 Victus maps of Black Ops 2, could launch as fully remastered maps, maybe even reworked, to a newer Black Ops 2. And what year would this be in? Like Ralph said earlier, 2023. It all adds up when you really think about it, because it's not only gonna allow Treyarch more time to be able to develop these maps and remaster them, but Call of Duty is taking a bit of a backseat allegedly, and there's a good chance that we're not going to be getting a Call of Duty title in 2023. So what better time for Activision and Treyarch to just have some time to make a remaster, which I'm not too sure about game development, okay, I'm really not, and I don't want to talk about it like I'm really savvy with it, but surely a remaster is much easier to do than a completely new game. And so maybe they could have the time and then put one of these out in 2023, a remaster, just whip it out the oven, and then they're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We would get Zombies Chronicles 2, and everyone would get a remastered Black Ops 2. And with the way these leaks are looking, it could also take that direction. Regardless, those 3 maps in particular, Buried, Die Rise and Transit, seem to be coming at some point on a remaster of Black Ops 2 or in Cold War. And the last bit of intel that we have here today is quite a chunky thread. It's by Hedon Prime, and they have connections to Treyarch, and they just seem to use the information they have to just help out where they can. Take this with a very, very, very big pinch of salt and a bit of doubt there with it too, because this thread it's just really interesting, and it could either be really fake or genuinely real. When I read it, you'll interpret it one of 2 ways, but if this has a shred of truth behind it, then this will give us more proof, and it'll help us deduce that a Zombies Chronicles 2 is definitely real. It reads, I think it's time I share some info on what was planned for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, particularly Black Ops Pass Season 2, since the hype of Zombies Chronicles 2 and a potential Black Ops 2 remaster have surfaced. Do note that my info comes from around the launch of Black Ops 4 and is outdated. As you may know, BO4 Zombies was initially going to contain 6 Chaos story maps for Season 1, Year 1, and 6 Ether story maps in Season 2, Year 2. However, early on it was decided that they'd split it half and half. 2 Chaos, 2 Ether maps at launch, 2 Chaos, 2 Ether as DLC. This trend was planned to continue in BO4 Season 2, with the final 2 Chaos maps and 2 Ether maps for a grand finale. However, Zombies Chronicles 2 was also planned with 6 reimagined remastered maps. However, Activision had Treyarch move to work on what would be Cold War. This shift in production left the finale 2 Ether maps of Season 1 to be finished by a small team and the entirety of Season 2 cancelled. The question is, what would we have seen in Season 2 of Black Ops 4 and Zombies Chronicles 2? First, the 2 Chaos maps. One map I was told would have followed Diego and a new ragtag crew trying to awaken Scarlet on the island of Antikythera, the island where a real-world wonder was discovered, an ancient computer known as the Antikythera mechanism. The second and final map to the Chaos Story Chapter 1 is a bit of an oddity, as it would have taken place at the Library of Alexandria, but also Atlantis. I genuinely don't know how this would have played out, but I'm sure Medusa would have been the final boss. As for the Ether story, the first would have been a reimagined Origins during the Battle of the Great War in 1299. Primus would wield the original staves. Likely an alternate ending could be unlocked with Pablo passing a message to Richtofen, allowing the events of Blood of the Dead to occur. The grand finale of the Ether story would have taken place in the Dark Ether, following Victus immediately after Dagda Toten. It would have been similar to Origins, with Samantha leading Victus through the Hellscape, gathering help from allies from throughout the Ether story. These allies would have included Gersh, Maxis, Pablo, McCain, the mob crew, possibly more. The map would have contained enemies from previous maps, but Monty and the Keepers would have been the primary threat. Likely would have ended with our allies joining Sam in the new world. Zombies Chronicles 2 would have contained 6 reimagined and remastered Ether maps, including Die Rise Remastered, Buried Remastered, 5 as a faithful remaster, Call of the Dead as a faithful remaster, and Mob of the Dead as a faithful remaster, Transit as a reimagined expanded map. I know some of the celebrities were in talks to reprise their roles. Danny Trejo and Joe Pantoliano were in talks. That's why Trejo was added to Blackout. I don't know how Ramiro would have been handled in Call of the Dead, maybe reusing the original dialogue, I don't know. How much of this will we see in the future? Unfortunately, I think the 2 Chaos maps and the Dark Ether map aren't ever going to resurface. Transit, Die Rise, and Buried are inevitable. If Black Ops 2 is remastered, then Mob and Origins are also possible. All this info comes from a close friend who works at Treyarch and has for close to a decade. It's just a shame knowing what could have been. But at least Black Ops Cold War revitalized the Zombies community, even if the community is currently on life support. I almost feel out of breath reading that. It's a very long thread and it has a lot of stuff in it, you know, it is jam-packed with stuff, and although I'm not going to focus too much on the Chaos Story things, maybe that could be a totally different video, but the idea of an Ether map that cool, it sounds too good to be true, I'm not gonna lie. Like using the original staves and, okay, it's really good and it gets me excited just thinking about it, but the Zombies Chronicles 2 section in particular is really interesting. It makes sense that the development would have been cut in half, you know, only having 3 maps instead of all of them, that being Call of the Dead and Mob of the Dead, and also 5, because of the development hell that Treyarch were going through at that time. And so saving the 3 Victus maps until maybe Cold War or a Black Ops 2 remake, it does add up. It's safe to say that Black Ops 4 could have actually been a truly amazing zombies experience, but sadly there was a lot that just got in the way. So in conclusion, this is all a complete mess, okay? I'm not gonna lie. But within all of this mess of different info, there have been some consistent themes, such as a Black Ops 2 remaster somewhere, and from what we've heard, 2023. Zombies Chronicles 2 either being in development, or it once was back in Black Ops 4 and is now paused, as well as the 3 Victus maps, Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, being their own little Zombies Chronicles 2 package. It's not all 100% accurate, I'm sure, and there's still no concrete proof, but we have had some very reliable sources give us some info, and it is hard to ignore after so long. Do I think we're gonna get Zombies Chronicles 2? At this point, yes, it's probably coming. In what form or in what way, I'm not really sure, and I think that's why it's so difficult to tell, because it could go to Cold War, it could go to a Black Ops 2 remaster. It is really hard to say, but regardless, I think we're gonna get at least those 3 maps. But ladies and gentlemen, what a wild rabbit hole this whole Zombies Chronicles thing is. And I'm gonna leave this video here today because it has gotten way longer than I thought it would have, but I just wanted to cover as much as possible. And as for a quick update about me, I got really ill and I ended up losing losing my voice nearly fully for like a whole week. It was insane. And so I was going to record another comic book episode, and as you can imagine, I wasn't really able to get it done. So don't worry, another comic book episode is coming very soon. It seems like a lot of you like that, and I'm really enjoying making them. I've also been working on another bigger video. You might be able to guess what it is. I'm sure you'll find out what it is soon, but it's taking a bit more effort than I thought it would. And so uploads have been a little spaced out lately because I'm trying to work on that as well, because I just want to get that right. There's also that going on in the background, but regardless, there's some good content coming up. If you enjoyed or found this informative, be sure to smash the like button. Comment your thoughts on this, okay? I need to know how you're all feeling about A Zombies Chronicles 2. Is it going to happen? Is it not? Be sure to let me know. Only a very small percentage of people are even subscribed to the channel, so if you've made it this far, be sure to subscribe. You won't regret it. Turn on the notification bell too to stay notified whenever I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.